In the quiet, dimly lit hospital room, Sarah lay surrounded by the faint hum of machines and the rhythmic beeping of a monitor that measured her fading pulse. Her family stood nearby, her daughter gripping her hand, whispering words through tears, her husband praying silently at her side. The air felt thick, heavy with both grief and reverence, as if the very walls understood what was about to happen. And then, with one last shallow breath, the monitor released a long, unbroken tone that filled the silence. But for Sarah, it wasn't silence. It wasn't the end. In that instant, she realized she was still aware, more aware than she had ever been. Her vision, her thoughts, her senses, all sharpened. She could see her own body lying motionless on the bed, her family crying over her, and yet she felt no pain, no fear. Instead, a lightness spread through her, a freedom she couldn't explain. It was as though she had shed the heavy armor of the world, stepping out of something she had worn her entire life without knowing its weight. The room seemed to stretch and dissolve into something infinite. The walls faded into soft waves of color, blue, gold, and white, pulsing gently, alive somehow. Every sound, every whisper of sorrow, echoed in slow motion. And though her husband's sobs broke her heart, she felt no despair, only compassion, deep and overwhelming. She tried to speak, to tell them she was still here, but her voice no longer belonged to that realm. Her words came out as thought, rippling through space like energy. Then, from the farthest corner of the room, something began to stir. A glow, soft at first, then growing stronger, filled the air. It wasn't a light like the sun, but something purer, warmer, filled with familiarity. It pulsed, not with brightness, but with love. And though she couldn't see its form, she knew it was calling her by name, not with sound, but with memory. The glow seemed to reach into her, awakening everything she had ever been: child, mother, friend, believer, dreamer, all merging into one perfect sense of being. And as she turned toward it, she felt herself lift, slowly, effortlessly, rising above her own body. Below her, her daughter clung to her hand, unaware that her mother now stood only inches away, watching, radiant, and free. Sarah wanted to tell her, "Don't cry, I'm okay. I'm just going home." But before she could, the golden light expanded, filling every corner of the room, and she felt herself being drawn toward it. Not by force, but by peace. It was as if every fear, every regret, every unanswered question dissolved into that glow. The last thing she saw before crossing fully into the light was her family's faces, broken, weeping, yet surrounded by an unseen warmth. And then, with one final glance back at the world she once knew, Sarah stepped into a realm where breath was not needed, time did not exist, and love was all that remained. The moment Sarah crossed into the golden light, everything changed. The air itself seemed alive, humming softly, like the world was breathing with her. She stood, or perhaps floated, in a place that had no sky, no ground, yet felt more real than anything she had ever touched. Colors moved like living rivers, gold, white, violet, and each hue carried emotion, peace, joy, awe. She could feel them, like music flowing through her soul. There was no pain, no sickness, no fear, only a radiant stillness, warm and infinite. Then she heard something in the distance, whispers, countless and gentle, calling her name in harmony. As they drew closer, she realized they were not whispers at all but voices, familiar ones. Her mother's laugh, her brother's calm tone, the voice of her grandmother singing softly the same lullaby she had once sung to Sarah as a child. They were all there, glowing with light, not as they were in life, but as they were meant to be, whole, luminous, perfect. One of them reached for her, a figure shining brighter than all the rest. She couldn't see his face, but the love radiating from him felt like 1,000 suns. The moment their hands touched, flashes of her life appeared around them, every act of kindness, every tear, every choice she had made. Nothing was hidden, but what amazed her most was that she wasn't judged with anger or shame. Instead, each memory pulsed with understanding and mercy. Every moment of pain was shown beside the grace that followed it. Every wrong she had done was illuminated by the lessons it carried. Then the light deepened, and a new presence appeared, a being beyond description, cloaked in brilliance that seemed to come from within the fabric of eternity itself. The air trembled as it spoke, not with words, but directly to her spirit. This is the valley between the seen and the unseen. Every soul must remember who they truly are before they cross. The world around her shifted again. Before her stretched two paths, one bathed in endless light that shimmered with peace, the other dim, gray, and quiet, stretching into a horizon that seemed to fade into nothing. She knew instinctively that one led closer to the divine presence she felt, and the other away from it. But there was no fear in choosing. The choice was made not by her lips but by the truth of her heart, the weight of every moment she had ever lived, balanced on love. When she took her step toward the light, everything around her came alive in a rush of sound and color. It was like stepping into the heartbeat of creation itself. She felt herself becoming weightless again, dissolving into something larger, more radiant. The light didn't blind her, it became her. And in that final moment, Sarah understood, death was not the end of life. It was the awakening from it. Somewhere, far away, her family still wept beside her body. But if they had listened closely, in the silence after the last tear fell, they might have felt it too, the faint warmth that lingered in the room, the whisper of peace that wasn't there before. Sarah had gone home, and eternity had just begun.